Jameis Winston signed with the New York Giants, which means there are only a few options left for the Pittsburgh Steelers and for Aaron Rodgers. That's next on the Bleav in Steelers show. Today's episode of Bleav in Steelers is brought to you by betonline.ag. We're into the Sweet 16 of March Madness. The NFL draft is a month away. We're getting into the NBA playoffs here soon and also the NHL playoffs. Get into the action today over at betonline.ag. BetOnline, the game starts here. Aaron Rodgers has only a few options left, and this comes after the news of Jameis Winston signing with the New York Giants on a 2-year deal. The Giants have now Winston and Tommy DeVito at quarterback. The Giants still have the 3rd overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft. But it means that the Giants are out on Aaron Rodgers. And so Rodgers, who met with the Pittsburgh Steelers on Friday, really has 2 options at this point. He can either sign with the Steelers or he can retire. I'm not of the thought process that there is a mystery team here. Now, I know there's been some speculation of could Tennessee get into the mix, potentially trade the number 1 overall pick and go with Rodgers for a year with the Tennessee Titans. Right now, I think Cam Ward's going to be the guy in Tennessee. New Orleans still has Derek Carr, but I don't think New Orleans is a good fit. And then the Cleveland Browns need a quarterback as well. Don't think Deshaun Watson's going to be ready to roll. You've got Kenny Pickett on your roster in Cleveland, but I don't think the Browns are a match for Rodgers either. So that's like, look, he can either sign with Pittsburgh or he can retire at this point. And we're just delaying the inevitable. Maybe by the time you hear or listen to this, we'll have an answer on what Rodgers' decision is. But the Steelers just keep kicking the can down the road. And I'm of the thought process, sign Mason Rudolph, which you've already done, and have him be your team starter. Skylar Thompson can be on the roster, and then go get a rookie quarterback, a day 2 or day 3 guy that can help fill out your quarterback position in Pittsburgh. And use the money that you would need to sign Rodgers and do a few things. I would try to work out a contract extension with TJ Watt. Watt is entering the final year of his deal. And if you look across the division, Myles Garrett just signed a huge extension with the Browns at $40 million per year. I think TJ Watt's going to be in the same ballpark given his age and similar level of production compared to Garrett. So if Garrett's making $40 per year, perhaps you could use that money to give the extension that Watt probably deserves, and you want to see him in the black and gold for years to come. I also think that allows you to, look, the Steelers should at least consider trading Watt as well. It's not what you might want to hear, but you don't want to see what he could fetch in an open market if you want to see him in the black and gold for the remainder of his career. That's one thing you could do with the money. You could also try to work out a contract extension ahead of time with George Pickens. You'd have a nice combo of George Pickens and DK Metcalf. That would really be a possibility for the Steelers because, like Watt, George Pickens is also entering a contract season in 2025. Pickens is going to make somewhere between $3.5 and $4 million in the final year of his rookie deal. Certainly, he's worth a lot more than that, but maybe you can bring him back on a cheaper, team-friendly deal ahead of him going out to the open market, or ahead of the Steelers would have a decision to make next offseason of, do they want to put the franchise tag on George Pickens depending on how he produces this season? It could be very expensive to do that. And with the franchise tag, it's only a 1-year deal and you're paying a premium on that 1 year for a player, because remember, the Steelers don't have a 5th-year option on Pickens. He was not a first-round pick in the NFL draft. So that's what you could do with the money. And then perhaps you could get creative with the trade and get another pass catcher to have a nice trio for whoever the next guy is. You just need Mason Rudolph to steer this ship. I know he's not going to win you a Super Bowl. I fully understand that. But the Steelers won 8 games in 2019 with Rudolph and Duck Hodges. Mason Rudolph can't get you to 9 wins again. So I'm not going to argue this. Aaron Rodgers is a much better quarterback. I don't know about much better. Let's restart here. Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Mason Rudolph. I don't think there's any debate about that. But for how much more money? Is Aaron Rodgers worth $40 million per year when you're paying Mason an average of $4 per year? This is something that the Steelers need to figure out. So if they're saving that much money on the cap space, what could you do to better position your team for next offseason? One thing the Steelers have done very smartly is stockpile the compensatory picks that they'll get in next year's NFL draft. So they're starting to stockpile their assets to reload the deck, because even if they bring in Aaron Rodgers, he's not the long-term solution at the quarterback position. I think that's going to happen next offseason. And remember, that's also when the draft is in Pittsburgh. So if I'm the Steelers, here's what I do. I ride with Mason Rudolph. I draft a day 2 or day 3 quarterback. I then draft a quarterback again next offseason. And you get more at-bats. You get more swings at it. You missed on Kenny Pickett, that's okay. Restack the deck. Try to get someone this year, draft and develop. Try to get someone next year, draft and develop. That's my strategy if I'm the Steelers, if Aaron Rodgers wants too much money. The Steelers could also bring back Russell Wilson. And I don't want to be too short-sighted to say that that still isn't a remote possibility. But my thought process is this. If Russell Wilson were going to be back in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform for the 2025 season, I think it would have already happened by this point. So I think the Steelers are still waiting on Rodgers. Rodgers still has a decision to make. But again, it goes back to for what price. And Jameis Winston signing with the Giants, I think actually lowers that price for Pittsburgh, because the Giants are one less possibility that Rodgers could go to, a team that Rodgers could go to. And that's why when the Vikings publicly said, hey, we're out, we're going to roll with J.J. McCarthy, it's one less possibility. And I actually think that benefits the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that benefits the Steelers because there's less suitors for that specific quarterback, and it lowers the price because he has less options available. Let me know in the comments if you're watching this. If there's a mystery team that you think Rodgers could go to, I don't see it right now. And also, after the draft, once all of these rookies come in, I know it's not a quarterback-rich class. I understand that. It's not what last year's class was. But there's going to be even fewer positions available for Rodgers if he still wants to play in the 2025 season at the age of 41 years old. My name is Mark Bergin. This has been another edition of Bleav in Steelers. If you enjoyed listening, a quick episode today, leave a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. I want to thank today's presenting sponsor, betonline.ag. And if you're watching over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, both on the Mark Bergin YouTube page and on the Bleav Network. Again, my name is Mark Bergin. I hope you enjoyed listening. We'll see what happens this week. I don't know what to expect, and I don't know how much longer that this can drag out. But as of this recording on Monday morning, Aaron Rodgers remains a free agent, and we'll see if he ends up signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hope all of you have a great rest of your weeks. I'll see you next time. Till then, take care. So long, everybody.